모닝스페셜이 선정한 모닝 헤드라인스.
Korea's tax revenue fell by nearly 16 trillion won in January and February from a year earlier on the back of a worsening economy, sluggish asset market, and various tax cut policies.
올해 1월과 2월 국세 수입이 작년 같은 기간보다 16조 원 가까이 감소했습니다. 이는 경기 악화와 자산시장 침체, 각종 감세 정책의 영향이라는 분석입니다.
Outbound shipments of Korean instant noodles, including ramyeon, stood at $862 million in 2022, up 12% from the previous year, setting a new record high for the 8th year in a row.
지난해 라면을 필두로 한 한국 즉석 면류 수출액이 8억 6,200만 달러, 우리 돈으로 약 1조 1,200억 원을 넘었습니다. 이는 전년도보다 12%가 늘어난 액수로 8년 연속 사상 최고치를 경신한 것입니다.
Amid Korea's low birth rate, schools across the nation, some with over 100 years of history, are closing their doors due to insufficient numbers of students.
우리나라의 저출산 현상이 심화되고 있는 가운데 학생 수 부족으로 폐교하는 학교들이 전국적으로 늘어나고 있습니다. 100년 역사를 가진 유서 깊은 학교도 예외가 아닌 것으로 나타났습니다.
At least 22 people died in devastating storms and violent tornadoes that leveled entire communities in South and Midwest US on Friday and Saturday, prompting state leaders in the region to declare emergencies to respond to the damage.
지난 주말 미국 남부와 중서부 지역을 초토화시킨 강력한 폭풍과 토네이도로 최소 22명의 사망자가 발생했습니다. 해당 지역 당국들은 피해에 대응하기 위해 일제히 비상사태를 선포했습니다.
The port of Dover in the UK has declared a critical incident as high volumes of traffic, bad weather, and hold-ups at French border controls caused a severe coach backlog that left some passengers held up for 14 hours.
영국 도버항에 차량이 대거 몰리고 악천후 상황에 프랑스 국경 심사 지연까지 겹치면서 심각한 버스 정체가 발생하자 항구 측이 중대 상황임을 선언했습니다. 일부 승객은 14시간 동안 버스에 갇혀 있었던 것으로 알려졌습니다. And those are today's headlines. Morning Headline Expressions. From the headlines today, we looked at this expression, on the back of something.
Yes, on the back of your comment, I will respond.
Please
It
do.
means after, often due to, because of, following whatever has occurred, the next thing happens.
On the back of your explanation, let me interpret that.
Thank you very much.
뭐의 뒤를 이어서 뭐뭐라는 건데요. 우리말이랑 어순이 좀 다르기 때문에 그것만 주의하시면 돼요. On the back of라는 표현 자체는 어렵지 않은 것 같아요. But when you say A happened on the back of B, B happened first.
Exactly,
And
yes.
then A happened. Right?
Yes, so the second thing comes before the first thing.
그래요. 그래서 the tax revenue fell on the back of a worsening economy means the economy was bad and then the tax revenue fell.
Yes, that's right.
Okay. Moving on to the next expression, to set a new record high.
Yeah, to be the highest ever. If we're setting a new record something, it means we're the most or the least or the highest or the lowest, depending on the situation.
Exactly. Set a new record high. 무언가를 기록하다, 기록을 경신하다인데요. A new record high. high가 여기서 그 자체만으로 최고치를 말하고 있습니다. The next expression is to close someone's doors.
Yes, if some place closes its doors, it means it's shutting down, either temporarily or permanently. I just hope that Morning Special never closes its doors.
Indeed. 폐교하다의 의미로 학교 얘기면은 이제 폐교가 되겠고요. 상점 얘기면은 상점이 문을 닫는 거가 되겠죠. 폐업이 되겠네요. And depending on what it is, can a person close their doors to someone?
No.
Okay.
I don't think you can say that. Certainly not in terms of business.
No, but I mean emotionally.
You can close the doors on something, on an incident, for example. So, for example, if you've broken up with a boyfriend or girlfriend, you can close the doors on that relationship.
And that means it's
done.
over.
Yeah. But also you've got closure. You've sort of got over that issue.
Okay. So it can be used maybe figuratively, but most of the time it just means end of a business or end of the school's operation.
Exactly.
The next expression is to respond to the damage.
Yes, respond can be speaking, it can be emailing, it can be text messaging, or it can be in action. So in this case, if you're responding to damage, these are the rescue and repair efforts that will be made by the states that were affected by these tornadoes.
그래서 우리가 이렇게 산불이라든지 이런 재난이 일어났을 때 그 대응 팀을 영어로는 response team이라고 얘기하죠. 네, 그 대응이라는 의미가 response에 들어 있습니다. Respond to the damage. 피해에 대응하다. 마지막으로 severe coach backlog.
Yes, a backlog is when things accumulate, when there's too much of something, like in a warehouse, be it a backlog of orders or a backlog of stock, or be it a backlog of emails in your email account. In this case, it was a backlog of coaches. Coaches were lined up one after the other at Dover, unable to get on the ferries.
Exactly. Something severe is very serious. A coach is a big bus, and a backlog is when you just get things piled up on top of each other. 밀리고 쌓이고 이런 것들 backlog죠. 심각한 버스 정체를 여기서 말합니다. 이렇게 오늘 헤드라인에서 나온 표현들 리뷰해봤습니다. 모닝 헤드라인 익스프레션즈는 오디오 어학당과 유튜브에서 무료로 다시 듣기 하실 수 있습니다. 모닝스페셜이 선정한 모닝 헤드라인즈.
The combined amount of business and household loans taken out by small business owners in the nation swelled to over 1 quadrillion won in the fourth quarter of last year, amid protracted financial difficulties stemming from the COVID-19 pandemic.
코로나19 이후 계속 어려움을 겪고 있는 자영업자들의 대출이 사업자 대출과 가계 대출을 합쳐 1,000조 원을 넘어선 것으로 나타났습니다.
A survey by the Ministry of Gender Equality and Family has revealed that the majority of parents who are under the age of 24 are struggling with child-rearing expenses.
부모가 모두 24살 이하인 이른바 청소년 부모의 대다수가 자녀 양육비를 마련하는 데 어려움을 겪고 있는 것으로 조사되었다고 여성가족부가 밝혔습니다.
Finnish conservative leader Petteri Orpo has won a nail-biting three-way election race, defeating Prime Minister Sanna Marin's center-left.
핀란드 총선에서 중도우파 성향의 국민연합당이 산나 메린 총리가 이끄는 중도 좌파 집권당을 상대로 승리를 거뒀습니다.
A well-known Russian military blogger has been killed and at least 32 others injured in a blast at a cafe in St. Petersburg in what appeared to be an audacious attack on a high-profile pro-Kremlin figure.
러시아의 상트페테르부르크의 한 카페에서 폭탄이 터지면서 폭발이 발생해 친러 성향의 유명 군사 블로거가 사망하고 최소 32명이 다쳤습니다.
Korea's top mobile messenger, KakaoTalk, has announced several features in a recent software update that address account security issues and offer new functions that can tackle various inconveniences, such as becoming part of group chats created by unknown users.
카카오톡이 최근 진행한 업데이트를 통해 이용자 편의성과 계정 보안을 강화하는 여러 기능을 추가했다고 밝혔습니다. 그중 가장 대표적인 기능으로 그룹 채팅방 참여 설정이 정식 기능으로 반영됐습니다. And those are our headlines. Morning Headline Expressions. 오늘의 헤드라인에 나왔던 표현입니다. To swell.
To swell, something increases, it gets bigger. In this case, we were talking about debt and amount of loans people are taking is swelling, it's getting bigger. But you can also use it if there's some injury. You get hit in the head with something, you're going to get a big bump on your head. It's because it's swelling.
You know, if you have ramyeon late at night, you get puffy eyes in the morning.
Okay.
Can you say you have swollen eyes? Or is
Yeah,
that
I guess you
different?
could. I don't know. I don't eat ramyeon, especially at night. Yeah.
그렇게 안 해보셨어요? 어머나. 밤에 라면 먹고 아침에 눈 부은 경험을 안 해본 1인 여기 계시네요.
Maybe because it's so spicy? I don't know.
Okay. Well, I'm sure a lot of people have experienced
Sure.
that. 보통은 이제 눈이 이렇게 부었을 때 우리가 뭐 팅팅 부었다 이런 말 하기도 하는데 영어로는 I have puffy eyes라고 일반적으로 하지만 이 sweat을 한번 써봤거든요. My eyes are swollen 해도 되냐고 물어봤더니 레이가 괜찮은 것 같은데 라고 했습니다. 내 눈이 부었어. 이런 표현. 우리가 상처 났을 때도 여기가 다쳐서 부었어요. My arms swollen, my leg is swollen.
Oh, your knee, anything, anywhere there's some inflammation.
그렇죠. 네, inflammation은 염증인데 이게 붓는 걸 말하고요. 여기서 어떤 의미로 썼었냐면 이 여러 가지 대출금이 불어났다라는 의미로 썼습니다. 자, 그 다음에 child rearing expenses.
That means the costs that you must bear to raise a child.
Exactly.
Lots of things, yeah.
Raise and rear, rear and raise, are they the same thing?
In this case, yeah.
아, 그렇군요. 아이들을 키우는 겁니다. Raise, A-I-S-E, 아니면 rear, R-E-A-R. 둘 다 키운다라는 의미가 있어서 이제 양육비가 child rearing expenses가 되겠죠. The next one is nail biting.
Well, some people actually bite their nails
Yeah.
because it's just like a nervous tick.
Sure.
But when we're talking, in this case, we were talking about an election. And it was nail biting because it was so close. You couldn't predict who was going to win. So that causes a lot of excitement, nervous energy, anxiety, especially if you are really you really are supporting one side. We use it a lot in sports. And you can say, oh, that game was a real nail biter. It was so close, so tense. You couldn't predict what was going to happen.
A nail biter라고도 합니다. nail은 손톱이고요. bite는 깨물다라는 의미가 있는데 손톱을 깨물게 만들 정도로 조마조마하게 하는 것이라는 의미로 it's a nail biter라고 얘기할 수 있어요. 이 경우에는 핀란드의 총선이 그랬다라는 얘기입니다. The next expression is high profile.
If something is high profile, it's really well known. It's usually prominent would be another word we could use. So it means it's famous. It's quite important. And usually we talk about a high profile person. They attract a lot of media attention and people are interested in them as well.
Yes, a high profile case.
High profile case, yeah, it's getting a lot of attention.
Yeah.
The media is covering it and also the public are interested in it. They want that news.
Definitely. High profile anything is something that's very famous. 그래서 유명하거나 아니면 세간의 이목을 끄는 것을 high profile이라고 얘기할 수 있습니다. 자, 마지막으로 account security issue가 있었죠.
Exactly as it sounds. It's the security of an account. So keeping your account safe. So people you don't want can't access it and can't access that information.
An account, we could have a bank account.
Sure, and security issues in a bank account also
Very
probably
important.
more, maybe even more important than like a messenger app account. But still, you want to make sure all that stuff is safe.
그래요. 이 account는 우리 통장, 은행 계좌 얘기할 때도 account라고 해요.
We also talked about home security issue too.
Yeah.
Home security.
That's right. 자, 그러나 여기서는 이제 메신저의 계정이었습니다. 그래서 계정이나 계좌를 account라고 하고요. security issue는 보안 문제가 되겠습니다. 이렇게 오늘 헤드라인에서 나온 표현 리뷰해봤고요. 모닝 헤드라인 expressions는 오디오 어학당과 유튜브에서 무료로 다시 듣기 하실 수 있습니다. 모닝스페셜이 선정한 모닝 헤드라인스.
Korea's total liabilities last year set a fresh record of more than 2.3 quadrillion won, with estimated liabilities from future pension payments reaching nearly 1.2 quadrillion won.
지난해 우리나라의 전체 국가 부채가 2,320조 원을 기록해 사상 최고치를 경신했습니다. 이 중 공무원에 지급해야 하는 연금 충당 부채가 1,181조 원을 차지했습니다.
Korea's year-on-year growth in consumer prices fell to the lowest level in a year in March, with experts attributing the slowdown to the recent steep drop in oil prices.
지난달 소비자 물가 상승률이 4.2% 증가해 1년 만에 가장 낮은 폭으로 둔화했습니다. 석유류가 큰 폭으로 하락하면서 전체 물가 오름세를 끌어내린 영향으로 분석됩니다.
Donald Trump, the front-runner for the U.S. Republican 2024 nomination, has made a historic court appearance in New York City, becoming the first former or sitting U.S. president to face criminal charges.
2024년 미국 공화당 대선 주자로 꼽히는 도널드 트럼프 전 대통령이 체포돼 뉴욕 형사법원에 출두했습니다. 미국 전직 대통령이 기소된 것은 이번이 처음입니다.
The U.S., along with the U.K. and other Western allies, has urged Russia to release Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gershkovich, who was detained last week on accusations of espionage.
미국과 서방 동맹국들은 지난주 러시아에 의해 간첩 혐의로 구금된 월스트리트 저널 소속 에반 게르시코비치 특파원의 석방을 촉구했습니다.
The rising popularity of the Korean language in France has more than tripled the number of elementary, middle, and high schools teaching Hangul, with the number of students learning Korean increasing to 1,800 last year from 631 in 2018.
프랑스에서 한국어 열풍이 불고 있는 가운데 프랑스의 초중 고교에서 개설된 한국어반이 작년 기준 2018년 이래 3배 이상 증가했으며 같은 기간 한국어반 학생 수는 631명에서 1,800명으로 늘었습니다. And those are our headlines. Morning headline expressions. In the headlines today, we looked at the expression to set a fresh record.
Well, if something is fresh, I gave the example of fruit or vegetables. You've just bought them. They're new, they're ripe. So a record, meaning a high point of something, an all-time record. So it's a fresh record, it's a brand new record, a new all-time high.
A brand new record라고도 할 수 있겠네요. 새로운 기록인데요. set, 그러니까 그 기록을 세운 거죠. 기록을 경신했다라고도 해석할 수 있습니다. 그 다음으로 attribute라는 표현이에요.
If you attribute something to something else, you say that that's the reason why that thing happened.
So we could say, we attribute the success of Morning Special to our listeners.
There we go. Perfect.
Yeah.
The listeners are the reason that the show is successful.
Exactly. Attribute A to B. 그러면 B 덕분에, B 때문에 A가 됐다라는 그런 의미가 되겠죠. Sometimes you can change the order around a little bit and say, this has been attributed to something. So,
Sure. Our listener, the success of the show has been attributed to our listeners.
Exactly. 네, 순서 조금 바꿀 수는 있지만 이렇게 attribute to someone or something이라고 했을 때는 그것 덕분에, 그것 때문에라는 의미가 됩니다. The next one is to make an appearance, an historic court appearance.
Donald Trump did that, right? So if you make an appearance in court, you go there, obviously. And we're saying it's historic, and you can say anything is historic if it's going to be, it's very significant and important. And later on, in the future, people are going to look back on this.
Yeah.
Oh, remember that, because it's very important. It's historic.
I feel
Part
like
of history.
Exactly. I feel like you hear this term a lot when it comes to sports events. You know,
Sure.
if someone's scored a goal that's never been done
Or,
before.
Messi winning the World Cup.
Yeah.
That was a historic moment.
Exactly. And then the sportscaster might say, oh, this is historic.
Yes,
You know.
because people are going to remember it. They're going to look back on it.
역사적입니다 라는 의미로 historic라고 하고요. make an appearance는 모습을 나타내다, 출석하다인데요. make a court appearance니까 법원에 출석한 것을 얘기합니다.
Sometimes people say you should, company events or parties. You don't really want to go, but someone might say to you, you should at least make an appearance.
Yeah, exactly.
You should just go, show up for a bit, say hi to everybody.
그럴 수 있죠. 그러니까 만약에 어떤 이벤트, 컴퍼니 이벤트가 있는데 레이가 갈까 말까 고민하고 있어요. 그럼 제가 이 표현과 다음 표현을 한번 섞어서 얘기해 볼게요. Ray, I urge you to make an appearance at the company event.
Should I? I really don't want to. See, so urging someone to do something is trying to persuade them or convince them to do something that they don't really want to do.
I see.
And either because it's beneficial to you, or in this case, you think it would be good for me to do that.
urge는 뭐뭐 하도록 설득한다, 아니면 촉구한다의 의미가 있습니다. 뉴스에서는 사실 우리가 촉구하다 이런 말 많이 쓰니까 그렇게 해석하면 되지만 우리가 실생활에서는 이걸 조금 할지 말지 고민을 하는 사람한테 아니면은 안 하고 싶어 하는 상황인 것 같은데 아니요 해보세요 라고 할 때 그럴 때 urge를 쓰는 거죠. 그래서 설득하는 의미. 그 다음에 마지막으로 the rising popularity of something.
Ooh, yes, rising popularity. If something is rising, temperatures are rising, prices are rising, it's increasing. So popularity means more people know about it, everyone's interested in
Yeah.
it. So that's increasing. It's
Exactly.
becoming more and more popular.
네, 인기가 높아지는 거죠. rising popularity. 네, rise하고 raise하고 헷갈릴 수 있는데요. 예를 들자면 손을 드세요? 이런 말 할 때는 raise your hand라고 합니다. 왜냐하면 손을 드는 행동을 내가 하는 거니까요. 그렇지만 let's see how many hands are raised. hand는 raise네요. 그렇지만 popularity 같은 경우는 누가 끌어올린 건 아니고 자기가 알아서 올라간 거잖아요. So the popularity is not raised here, but it's rising.
Yeah, I think the popularity already, Korean is... it's already been raised by things like BTS and the dramas.
그러네요.
And now but it's just continuing to rise.
BTS has raised the popularity and the popularity is rising.
Right.
하면
And
되겠네요.
particularly the popularity of learning Hangul. Right? I think all the Korean culture and all that type of thing, that's been on, it's already been raised.
Yes.
But now people want to learn the language.
Exactly. 자, 이렇게 해서 헤드라인에 나온 표현 리뷰해봤습니다. 모닝 헤드라인 익스프레션스는 오디오 어학당과 유튜브에서 무료로 다시 듣기 하실 수 있습니다. 모닝스페셜이 선정한 모닝 헤드라인스.
In a bid to root out school violence, the government is considering reflecting bullying records in the regular college admissions process and extending the record retention period so that any history of bullying will follow the perpetrators as they apply for jobs.
정부가 학교 폭력 근절을 위해 가해 기록을 대학 입학 정시 전형에 반영하고 취업 때까지 기록을 보존하는 방안을 검토하기로 했습니다.
Korea's average household consumption expenditure for gas and electricity this year is expected to rise by at least 23% and 18% respectively compared to a year ago, based on two possible price scenarios, according to the Korea Energy Economics Institute.
에너지경제연구원에 따르면 올해 가구당 가스 및 전기 소비 지출액이 지난해보다 각각 최소 23%와 18%가량 증가할 것으로 예상됐습니다. 이는 두 개의 요금 시나리오로 나눠 각각 산출한 수치입니다.
Former U.S. President Donald Trump, speaking for the first time since his arraignment hearing in New York, has claimed the case against him was brought only to interfere with the upcoming 2024 election and should be dropped immediately.
도널드 트럼프 전 미국 대통령이 뉴욕에서 진행된 기소 인부 절차 이후 처음으로 발언한 자리에서 자신에 대한 기소가 내년에 있을 미국 대선에 개입할 목적으로 이뤄진 것이며 즉각 취하되어야 한다고 주장했습니다.
Clashes erupted inside a Flashpoint Mosque in East Jerusalem on Wednesday as the Muslim holy month of Ramadan coincided with the Jewish Passover holiday.
이슬람의 금식 성월인 라마단과 유대 명절 유월절이 겹친 첫날인 어제 양측 갈등의 오랜 진앙지인 동예루살렘의 모스크에서 무력 충돌이 발생했습니다.
A Syrian man who arrived in Germany as a refugee in 2015 has won a mayoral election as an independent in the municipality of Ostelsheim in southwestern Germany.
2015년에 독일의 난민으로 들어와 정착한 시리아 남성이 독일 남서부 오스텔스하임 시장 선거에 무소속으로 출마해 당선됐습니다. And those are our headlines. Morning Headline Expressions. 자, 오늘 헤드라인에서는요, 이런 표현이 나왔습니다. In a bid to root out school violence.
So I think there's two phrases here that you can use. So in a bid to do something is an attempt to do something. Usually you want to try to make some change. So in a bid to stop speeding, for example, they put in the cameras as an example. Now to root something out is to find it, something you don't like, and get rid of it.
In a bid to는 무언가를 하기 위해서. 그래서 저희가 이렇게 말할 수 있죠. In a bid to make your mornings more fun, we make an effort. 그래서 in a bid to root out는 근절하기 위해서가 되겠고요. School violence, 학교 폭력 그대로 이제 번역을 해봤습니다. The next expression was expected to rise.
In this case, we're talking about rise, we're talking about expenditures, or we can talk about prices of something, rise meaning increase. And when you see expected to, it hasn't happened yet, but most people or experts or analysts are predicting that.
Exactly. rise라는 거는 일어나다 아니면 올라가다 이런 의미가 다 있어요. 그래서 블루의 노래 중에 All Rise라는 노래가 있는데 거기서는 다 일어나 라는 뜻이고요. 그 다음에 우리 아침에 해가 뜰 때 sunrise라고 하죠. 그러니까 해가 이렇게 지평선 위로 올라오는 것을 말하고
Rise and shine.
Rise and shine. 이거 아침 인사예요. 그래서 아침 뭐 좋은 아침 느낌으로 rise and shine. Rise and shine is more like sort of wake up.
Get up. Yeah.
일어나 이런
right,
거죠.
Right, it's that, but it's like in that nice like rise and shine, get up and be happy and enjoy the day.
네, 다음에 여러분 wake up 대신에 rise and shine 한번 써보세요. 훨씬 기분 좋은 말입니다. 그리고 금액이 오를 때도 prices are expected to rise라고 할 수 있습니다. 다음 표현으로 upcoming.
Upcoming means something that will happen. So we have the upcoming second hour.
Yeah.
We have it planned. It's going to happen. It's upcoming. We can talk about like upcoming movies, things that are going to be coming out soon.
네.
Anything that there's a plan for.
Exactly. 그리고 저희 공개 방송이 이제 곧 다가오죠. 그래서 please send in your messages and sign up for the upcoming open studio. 이렇게 얘기할 수도 있습니다. 뭔가 다가온다. upcoming. 그 다음에 coincide with something.
It's when two things happen at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. In this case, we're talking about two different dates or periods. Holidays. Yeah.
I'm not sure if holiday is the right term for Ramadan, but
It was used
these religious.
Yeah, exactly. Again, this was a term that was in one of the headlines last night, so we did get to use it. But, you know, sometimes you can use different expressions to talk about religious events.
Sure.
그래서 coincide라는 것은 동시에 일어난다라는 의미가 되겠죠. 자, 마지막으로 mayoral election입니다.
That's an election to name a mayor. And a mayor would be the person who runs a municipal government.
Yes.
So a city or a town.
Where does the stress go in that first word? Can you pronounce it for us?
Mayoral?
mayoral.
Mayoral.
mayoral이라고 발음을 하고요. 이게 mayor와 관련된 시장 선거라는 의미죠. 뭐 비슷하게 우리가 대통령 선거 말할 때 president라는 단어가 들어간 presidential election이라고 얘기를 하죠. 이렇게 해서 오늘 헤드라인에 나온 표현들 리뷰해봤습니다. 모닝 헤드라인 expressions는 오디오 어학당과 유튜브에서 무료로 다시 듣기 하실 수 있습니다. 모닝스페셜이 선정한 모닝 헤드라인스.
While overall consumer prices slowed down last month, food prices have continued to soar, with the food services price inflation exceeding the overall average consumer price growth rate for 22 consecutive months.
지난달 소비자 물가가 다소 둔화하는 흐름을 보였으나 먹거리 물가는 여전히 증가하고 있는 것으로 조사됐습니다. 외식 부문 물가 상승률은 전체 평균 소비자 물가 상승률을 22개월째 상회하고 있습니다.
Major global investment banks have issued a grim outlook for the Korean economy this year, with growth forecasts in the 1% range, significantly lower than those by the Korean government and central bank.
세계 주요 투자은행들이 한국 경제가 올해 1%대 성장이 쉽지 않을 것으로 내다봤습니다. 이는 우리 정부나 한국은행의 전망치보다 훨씬 낮은 것으로 나타났습니다.
US House Speaker Kevin McCarthy has hosted a meeting in California with Taiwan's President Tsai Ing-wen, drawing strong opposition and threats of retaliation from China.
케빈 메카시 미국 하원 의장이 중국의 강한 반발 속에서도 차잉원 대만 총통과 캘리포니아에서 만남을 가졌습니다.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has made his first state visit to Poland, where he met with his Polish counterpart Andrzej Duda, who pledged additional MiG-29 fighter jets to Kyiv.
전쟁 시작된 이후 처음으로 폴란드를 방문한 블러디미르 젤렌스키 우크라이나 대통령이 안제이 두다 폴란드 대통령을 만나 회담을 가졌습니다. 폴란드 대통령은 필요시 추가로 미그 29기를 제공해 줄 수 있다고 약속했습니다.
The cost of an average burial plot in China is more expensive than a high-end apartment, according to industry sources, with the price of a burial plot in Shanghai reaching 760,000 yuan, or about 150 million won.
중국의 묘지 가격이 급등해 최고급 아파트보다 훨씬 비싼 묘지들이 등장하고 있습니다. 상하이 지역 묘역의 경우는 제곱미터당 평균 분양가가 76만 위안, 우리 돈으로 약 1억 5천만 원에 이른다고 현지 매체들이 전했습니다. And those were today's headlines. Morning Headline Expressions. The first expression to go over is consecutive.
Yes, one after the other after the other. If you have consecutive days, consecutive weeks, consecutive months, consecutive years, it means it is a continuous stretch, a continuous period of time.
Exactly. So when we say for 22 consecutive months, that means for 22 months in a row?
Exactly, 22 months straight, non-stop, no break.
네, 22개월 동안 연속으로 라는 의미가 바로 for 22 consecutive months입니다. 자, 그 다음에는요, a grim outlook.
Oh, it's not good. It's serious. It's dangerous. It's negative. It's bad. If something is grim, if you've got a grim day, for example, that's when there are dark clouds overhead and it starts raining. Oh, like Wednesday. Wednesday was a bit of a grim day here in Korea. And not to be confused with grin, G-R-I-N, which means to smile, like the Cheshire Cat in Alice in Wonderland.
That's right. When I hear the word grim, I think of the colour grey.
Fair enough. Yes, that's a fairly grim colour.
Yes. 암울한 걸 grim이라고 합니다. Grim outlook는 암울한 전망이 되겠고요. Hosting a meeting?
Yes, meaning you're the one organising it and people are coming to you, be it in your house, your office, or a restaurant you've booked. You can host a meeting, you can host a dinner, you can host a party, and Sue hosts this show.
네, 모임을 주최하다, host a meeting이 되겠습니다. And the next term is counterpart.
Counterpart is the person opposite to you in the same position. We often use it for other countries when we have ministers, be it the prime minister, the president, the foreign minister, or a diplomat meeting the person of the equivalent position in another country.
Exactly. Counterpart. The equivalent in another country. 다른 나라의 같은 지위에 있는 분을 이렇게 얘기하죠. 그래서 장관이면 장관, 뭐 국가 원수면은 원수 이런 식으로 해서 his Polish counterpart, his US counterpart 이런 식으로 얘기 많이 하고요. 그 다음에는 burial plot입니다.
Yes, this is a plot of land, a piece of land that has not yet been used for burial, but is being bought for the purposes of burying a body there. We can also have a plot of land for a house or for a building or for something else. It's a piece of land that's going to be used for some purpose.
burial이라는 형용사가 묘지의라는 뜻이 있습니다. 그래서 plot는 땅이고요.
네.
함께 붙이면 이거 그 자체로도 묘지 아니면 묘역이 되겠죠. 자, 이렇게 해서 오늘 나온 표현들 리뷰해봤습니다. 모닝 헤드라인 expressions는 오디오 어학당과 유튜브에서 무료로 다시 듣기 하실 수 있습니다.